Hello and welcome. I'm joined here by some wonderful contributors who've all been involved in a new platform, Learn WordPress. It's free, it's available, and it's here to do exactly what it says, to help you learn about WordPress and learn about the amazing community that is behind it. Shall we go and meet these wonderful people? So in my left, I have Hawa. Hawa, would you like to introduce yourself and tell our lovely followers how you fit into the Learn WordPress?
Hi, I'm Hawa Abashir, and how I fit into Learn WordPress. Well, I got introduced to the training team last year after WordCamp Europe, thanks to you, Abba. And yeah, just got involved, and with the rollout of Learn, just became even more involved in getting things done. So that's my little story.
And Hawa comes into the project from a project management background as well as a coding background that she's getting involved with. So you'll see as we go through this interview just how many opportunities there are to get involved. So now I'm going to go to my other side and I have Erica. Erica, do you want to introduce how you've been involved with the Learn WordPress?
Sure. Hi, I'm Erica Barlise. I am sponsored by Automattic. I contribute to the community and polyglots teams primarily, but I've recently started working with the training team a little bit with Courtney, who we'll meet, and Hawa, and primarily just getting involved leading up to launch and working on some workshops and just helping with this awesome new project that we've started.
Thank you. And Erica, thank you for joining us today. And now we're going to move to Courtney. Courtney, we'd like to give everybody a wave and just I know you've been involved with training for quite a few years, and I've love have more contributors coming along. So this is your moment to introduce yourself and inspire all these wonderful potential contributors.
Hi there, I'm Courtney Robertson. You may still see the name Engel attached to me in various places online. That's still also part of my name. I joined the training team in 2014 at WordCamp New York during a contributor day. I met up with the people that were involved at that time and decided this is really the home for me because my background is that I'm a second generation high school business education teacher. So my background is in teaching programming at a high school level. And I have loved working with the training team because I get to use the lesson plans that I contribute back in my classrooms.
Fantastic. And you're very excited that we are now celebrating this wonderful new platform, and we're going to come back to you shortly to talk to you a bit more about that. I now would like to introduce Cami, and Cami is another one of these wonderful contributors who really makes you want to work with WordPress. So Cami, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. I would love to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Cami Chaos. That's really how you pronounce my name. I'm a community organizer for the WordPress open source project sponsored by Automattic, and I've been doing that for about 8 years now. So primarily for the last 8 years, I've worked with the community team, and much like Erica, with the launch of Learn, I've started working much more closely with the training team as well, which is fantastic because two of my great friends in WordPress, Tracy Levesque and Courtney O'Callahan, were the original founders of that team. And so to be able to kind of move in and help with the work that they started has been really exciting. And I've been involved by creating some workshops, hosting discussion groups, setting up those initial applications so that people could start to join, and just doing reach out to other amazing contributors in the WordPress community to see if they'd like to get involved and start to record those workshops and create those lesson plans as well.
I have a pop quiz. Because we're hoping that people will watch this and it can be a bit interactive, even if it is a pre-record because of broadband issues we've all got. So who knows when the training team first was born? We're going to give a pause for anybody who's watching this to answer. And now I'm going to ask Cami if she can reveal the answer.
I think it was in 2013.
So it's
Yay!
What a celebration! 7 years, and we're reaching a new chapter of all the teams involvement. And in case you were wondering who is actually behind all of this, well, I can tell you, I've done a bit of digging, and I can say everyone. We have nearly all the WordPress teams involved in some way, particularly community, training, meta, design. I'm making sure I haven't missed any out now. And marketing and WordPress TV. And I'm just looking at Erica to say, we know we've had involvement from lots of other people too. So if you are in any of these teams and you're watching this today, you can get involved too. You don't have to be a specialist. There are plenty of opportunities where you can get involved. And there's also specialist roles too. So do make sure that you give it a go, have a look. And we're going to look at a lot of ideas of how you can do that with some of our interviews as part of our launch of Learn WordPress. I'm now going to have the pleasure of introducing two of my colleagues on the marketing team who have been learning all things Learn. And I think that they are part of the project that you will see in the coming 6 months, where we're going to be sharing tips about how you can learn, how you can improve your understanding, and how you can share that with others. And in the true spirit of WordPress, how we can do that with cake and coffee and tea. Because I know, WordPress community, what's the first thing that you can think of? Warmth and food. So we decided to extend that principle to this. So look out for our social media campaigns, where we will be asking you to help us and share your cake that you will be actually not sharing it so you don't get to eat it, of course, but sharing it virtually on social, so that we can see what goes into your learning cake. So that brings me to Larissa. So Larissa is joining us from South America. So Larissa, what for you is, as well as introducing yourself, can you tell us about why the Learn platform is so important, not just for English speakers, but also for every one of our communities across the globe?
Sure, thank you, Abba. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Larissa. I've been contributing to the Make WordPress marketing team for about 6 or 7 months, so around the time of WordCamp Europe. And I jumped at the opportunity to be part of the group that's planning all these marketing activities for Learn WordPress. And it's given me the chance to explore this amazing online platform, really appreciate the power of WordPress, and also see the opportunities that there are for instance, Spanish speakers such as myself. Being able to educate people, celebrate all the cool things that people are doing with WordPress, and appreciate the power of the platform and how it's made is really important for us in the Spanish speaking world and those who speak other languages. And to be able to watch download a lesson plan, watch a workshop in our own language is something really powerful. And I already know a lot of people who are extremely excited about the opportunity.
Thank you, Larissa, and for sharing your enthusiasm. You can see why she works with the marketing team. And we have lots of lovely people like Larissa who you can work with too, if you are able to come and give us a little bit of your time to help promote this wonderful new platform. And that brings me to our last participant, but no less important, Mahir, who is joining us today from India. Mahir, would you like to introduce yourself, and also as one of the WordCamp India organizers and who's been involved very much in our translation work? How for you is Learn WordPress going to be that amazing new chapter?
Hello everyone, my name is Mahir. I am from Mumbai, India. I'm a part of the WordCamp India community. I feel the Learn WordPress platform will give users way to explore WordPress more. Having WordPress give out tutorials and give out training all under one roof instead of going to a third-party website where information may or may not be updated. The community is here to give the users the best way to use WordPress.
And that's the beauty of the Learn WordPress platform. It is actually for everybody. Now, if you've been watching this and you haven't seen anything about Learning Cakes, then you've missed out. But let us take you on a bit of a journey where we can tell you just about the amazing things that you will experience and you will get to learn about within the Learn platform. I'm going to go to Erica. So Erica, where are you joining us from, by the way, today? What country?
I'm in the United States, in the New York area.
And Erica also speaks lots of different languages. So Erica, one of the questions that I would like you to be able to share is, you're asking for video workshops and you're asking for people to contribute ideas. And ideally they can use lesson plans as well to help construct a workshop that has learning objectives and helps people understand the topic more. But why is that important for them not to be just in English?
Right. That's a great question to explore why it's important to not only have workshops in English. And for me, I think a lot of it has to do with just the WordPress community as a whole. We're a very diverse community. We have meetups and contributors and people using WordPress around the world. And a large part of the mission of Learn WordPress, whether you're using the lesson plans or you're using the video workshops, is to empower others to be able to learn how to use WordPress so they can leverage everything that WordPress has to offer. And part of that, and in my mind as well, part of being inclusive about that too, has to do with encouraging folks to provide workshops and in different languages on different subjects with different levels of expertise, just as a way to get as many people involved and as many people engaging with what's available here so that they can learn and maybe in turn they too can help contribute to the project as well.
Thank you, Erica, and for sharing that. I'm just going to take a question across to Hawa. Hawa, you've been involved with a lot of WordCamps and with WordCamp London included, and been a volunteer at WordCamp Europe and others. Do you think that having workshop material about how you can contribute to the project on this super new Learn WordPress platform, will it make it easier for people to actually get involved?
Yeah, I think having that information available on the platform, Learn WordPress, it's going to be amazing because you could probably do it at your own time. It's immediately available. I know that there have been discussions about having discussion groups, so you could band together and go through a lesson. So it will open up more opportunities because you can learn in the way that you want to learn, because some people are good at face-to-face, some people might only be good online. So it's just another avenue in which you can learn and also in which you can contribute, because, you know, learning about how to contribute to WordPress is great.
Would having a platform like this have helped you when you first got started?
Yeah, definitely. I'm grateful that I was able to reach out to certain people and just to ask them, you know, like what had happened before, because I was leading on sponsors. So trying to get my head around that. And it's a shame that Hugh's not here today, because he was one of the people that I actually interacted with when I first started doing WordCamp London. And so his insight was quite helpful, but there were loads of other people. But I think having that available on the platform, Learn, it just makes it easier, because you might not be having to disturb somebody, and you can just immediately go onto the site and just access the information there. And you could probably just leave a note on there if the discussion groups are available, and then somebody can easily get back to you, or you can have your own little peer group that you can have that discussion. So yes, I think it definitely would have helped me.
That's really useful. Thanks for sharing that. I've got another question for Mahir this time. Mahir, do you think that by having all the information in one place and centrally, will that make it easier for when you are putting a WordCamp together, because you've organized quite a few, or a contributor event, so that people find it that direct place? Or do you think actually there's other things that we can do too?
It will help, because when new members join the WordCamp organizing team, they need to be briefed about the code of conduct, the do's, the don'ts. If there are lessons already there, we can definitely redirect them to those lessons, and discussion groups and having a discussion across different members of the different communities will also help, because it increases the scope of, being only, we need to do this, talking with other members, we can get ideas of what to implement, how it will work in our local community, whether it will work or whether it will not. So it will help a lot, especially to the new as well as the members who are coming back into the organizing team.
Thank you. I have a question that I'm going to throw to Cami first of all, but I'm going to come back to Erica as well. Is that one of the things that we've done in a lot of our research, because in the marketing team we do a lot of research-based communications and data-based, and because we like that, being techies, and a lot of non-techies, we like to substantiate what we're doing. But one of the things that have come back, and from our work with contributor events, has been that without information that is easy to access, it can be harder for diverse groups to actually take part. We all know that as much as we would like to, we don't have necessarily as many female speakers or people who would describe themselves as female, putting themselves forward, and which is, we'd love to have much more of a diverse speaker base. But that's the same for WordCamp organizers, that it can be quite difficult to find things, especially if you are juggling lots of other commitments. And we know from the COVID, there's been quite a few research items that have come out in the last few months about women who are working at home, but who still seem to be doing a lot of the caregiving side, the domestic side, and trying to juggle all that, and then possibly contributing to something else is quite a significant challenge. Cami, I know you've talked about this elsewhere as well, about how giving people a level playing field, or in terms of access of information, was really important. And I know that's something that is important to you too. How do you think the Learn platform will make that easier? And what would you like to say to people who feel that actually they haven't been able to access information as much as they'd like to have done, and to encourage them to come along and get involved in creating that information too?
That's a very long and fantastic question. I, yes, have been known to speak my mind on leveling the playing field for women and for BIPOC members and underrepresented members in communities. And I think that we sometimes forget that we can't have a level playing field as long as we're directing information to one demographic. And Learn WordPress is really meant to remove that burden with our meetup groups, which I love, and with our WordCamps, which I actually became a representative in the community because I love WordCamps. We are giving as much freedom for people to attend as possible, but you're still burdened by things like when something is happening and where something is happening and whether or not you can attend in person. And they seem to be focused around evening hours when fair or not, women are doing the majority of the work. They get home from work. If they have kids, if they have a home, if they have a partner, they're trying to get work done, and they don't necessarily have the time at that moment to fit it in. With Learn WordPress, we have a platform that is completely asynchronous. You can go, you can explore, you can learn anything you want to on your own. And then when you're ready to have a discussion about it, you can find a group that will work for your time. And if you don't see one that works for your time already, you can go ahead and reach out and somebody will schedule something, or you can understand it well enough to schedule it yourself and invite other people to it. So it's really opening up a doorway to make this convenient on our own time. And then the second part of it, I have been the only woman in a talk so many times. I have been the only woman at a meetup so many times. There have been times that I was the only woman at an event and I stayed just in case another woman showed up. And when we're looking at Learn WordPress, it's me and my computer, and I'm learning from the person who's presenting to me. And it gives me the opportunity to not feel intimidated by the folks that are around me and to understand that this is really something that's meant for everyone.
Thank you. That was perfect. I think anybody who doesn't feel inspired by that just needs to rewind this and play it again, because that is amazing. Thank you very much, Cami, for sharing that. And I would like to take that question to Erica and then to Courtney. And Erica, the particular question that I if you value your input into, is that obviously the Learn WordPress platform is for everybody, whatever your gender, whatever your background, culture, country, disability. But what would you like to see? What is your big dream? So how could we really use it for inclusion?
I love that question. I think I echo a lot of what Cami said already in terms of the flexibility and that idea of it just being you and your computer where you're learning. And I think that's such a great step so far. With where we could take it, I think there's so many opportunities. There's so many ways to get involved. Already, the training team has created all of these lesson plans that are available for download, which gives, I think in general, we have so many different ways of interacting and ways to engage with the content that whether it's a bandwidth issue, whether it's just your own personal learning style that you prefer, there's a lot of opportunities for choose your own adventure for how you want to get involved. I think long-term, which we've kind of touched on a little bit before, what I would love to see is more and more content in different languages. That includes, I would love to see the whole website translated into different languages. That's a dream for the future. But even just having more and more workshops in different languages as we continue to get new submissions, I think it's such a great way to engage with people who maybe would like to get involved with WordPress, but hesitate for the language barrier, or just struggling to find information in a single source or a single resource to really help them get started with what they'd like to do. So I think that's kind of one of my biggest dreams there in terms of really expanding different ways for people to engage that suits them and wherever they may be, whatever their preferences are.
And long may that continue. And as we are an evolving project, we continue to find new ways for people to be included, but also new ways of actually sharing information. And I think that's the beauty for me of how we can develop Learn in the future, and the work of the training team, which is just amazing. Like I said, WordPress equals amazing. And as part of this series, we'll be featuring the different ways and the different communities that can actually benefit from Learn WordPress, including adult education, including the less and more formal structures, so where people can actually do them, as Courtney said, through a meetup training, but also on a one-to-one. We have an interview in the series coming up about a project with one of our team who is trying to encourage older people who have retired and who may retire for some time to actually use WordPress to log their memories, to share at the moment, and how the platform can help them too. We've also got an interview coming up with some translators who are going to use it. Now, we have plenty of ways that we can explain Learn WordPress, but we want to hear from you too. If you have something that you've already used Learn WordPress to do, something that you feel that has really benefited you or your local group, family, or project that you're supporting, we'd like to hear from you and include you in the features that we're planning, both on video, on social, and we're doing a whole audio series too. So the best way of getting in touch with us, if you're viewing this on our YouTube channel, is to message us on there, or you can join the Make WordPress Slack and join and talk to the marketing team on Slack or to the training team on Slack, and we work very closely together. And if you're not sure how to do that, guess what? We have some videos that will help you just do that. And if you look at the other videos on this channel, we have a number of onboarding videos to help you join the Make WordPress Slack. And we are having those videos available in lots of different languages. We have more to come. So if you have a lovely presenting voice, an experienced communicator, and you think, how can I contribute? Well, if you speak another language, we'll show you, and we'd love to have you involved. So all that leaves for me for this session is to thank again all our wonderful contributors who joined us today and who have been absolutely devoting huge amounts of time to this project to make it better, to make the WordPress community better, stronger, learning together.